Yo, 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 listen up. Arabica is past its prime, cause this is researching Robusta time. So here we are finally with Rob to do the certified tasting, let's say. We already had some interesting kind of observations, but maybe first, Rob, what's the kind of setup that we have here?
So today we have local market samples from Congo, a bit of a baseline test to see what the actual quality right now is of coffee in the local market. And we have a double setup. One is today we're going to taste a natural and a honey. And we have here the first row are cleaned samples that we roasted medium degree to do the standard Robusta cupping. And then here we have dark roast samples. The way they drink their coffee is very dark roast in fusion style. And we have 10 cups, and here we're going to cup for defects. So we have 10 cups, and we're going to evaluate how many of these cups are defected to have an idea of what the quality is of the local market samples.
Alright, we can start breaking.
We can start breaking, yes. I'll leave some samples for you to
Alright.
break.
So and not forget to between breaking you have to clean it, right?
Yeah, you clean it in the other cup.
Okay, so as I mentioned when we were kind of just smelling the grounded coffee in the dark roast, there was this kind of salmon smell.
Yeah, the second cup here. So it's animalic.
Animalic?
Yeah, animal flavors they would say, like which is like meaty, brothy. This time it's fishy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very negative sign. That means that something infected the coffee beans. That's what we can taste right now. This is something we really want to avoid, is those animal tastes or smells.
So is that then just a few beans that you have in a sample that will kind of have been infected? And
That could be the case, or it could be a whole batch that's just infected during storage. It could be the case that maybe some black beans which were affected by mold or insect damage got into the sample, or maybe the whole batch in itself is infected during storage or during processing, bad drying. A lot of factors that impact the quality of the coffee.
Okay, but the local people in Congo, as they buy this on the market, they will just roast it as dark as possible.
Yes.
Without cleaning, without removing defects.
It might be possible that they remove some stones or some black beans which are visually easy to spot. But besides that, yes, they do not really clean the coffee samples. And they like to dark roast because they have the impression that it is strong coffee then. So this dark roast, the strong intense aromas and flavors, means it's a good strong coffee. It will wake you up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good boost in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Which, as we know, is actually not true. Caffeine supposedly stays rather constant during roasting.
Yes.
I was misguided in the sense I believed first that the roasting would remove some of the caffeine. It probably does a very little bit. But what does happen is that as you get expansion of the volume, which we also really have in this case, the density of the darker roast really decreased a lot compared to the light roast. So that means you have more rate for volume with the lighter roast. So if you just scoop up your coffee to then make your preparation, you will have more caffeine in the lighter roast. If you do it volume based.
Yes.
But when you do weight based, it's usually the same.
Yes. Now I'm gonna clean the samples, just remove any coffee grounds that are still on top.
Okay, Rob did the cleaning. We're now ready to see if it still makes a big difference as we're tasting it. So I would say just share your thoughts as you're going through it.
And as we discussed, a bit of a light roast. astringency. As the third cup here is clearly already defected. This is a bit fermented. The third one here, I'll indicate the cups which you should focus on to see if you can taste the defects.
Okay, that's interesting. I would hope that I will be able to do the same here, but taste-wise, I mean, this one I think is just a little bit. The body seems to be less, maybe just a little less coffee.
You know, with the dark roast, the body will be very.
Usually it's high, right?
Very rough and very high. Yeah.
Mm. But I'm not getting like the salmon taste or something, so that at least that's positive. And if I need to say something positive about it, it does have the chocolate-like quality, I would say.
That's really good.
Now, if I do my best, like this one is very kind of stringent, tangy. A lot of them have the very kind of strong Robusta dark roast kind of flavor that you would experience in the south of Italy also.
Don't forget to rinse your mouth.
Between tastings.
Oh, not between cups, but once in a while you should rinse your mouth because.
Just resetting.
Yeah, reset your tongue.
Okay. This is for me, Robert. So I'm now really looking forward to go to the light ones. I'm hoping to have a better experience. I would say it does have a certain fruitiness.
The first cup, yes, indeed.
Yeah, the first one. Okay.
That's because it's a bit fermented, and it's usually accompanied by fruity flavors. But the rest, I'll leave you to it. You'll taste some distinct differences.
Okay, this is now the one that you indicated as having a defect, I think, right? Is it a kind of a buttery kind of aspect to it, or? It's like, yeah.
So overall, the sample has got some moldy flavors and some cardboard flavors, so it means improper drying and storage. The third cup is more distinct in its moldy flavor and straw cardboard flavor.
Usually I detect cardboard flavors also in decaffeinated coffees. It's a little bit tangy also. Like a dryness on the mouth, right?
Very stringent coffee. There are multiple factors. Most commonly it's because the usage of green fruits that were harvested instead of red ripe fruits.
So the whole batch, even when it was cleaned, kind of has its issues.
Yes.
I guess that's what.
Improper drying and storage. So my guess is that during drying it was not dried properly in the sun. It was not aerated enough, so not enough airflow through the heaped beans. And then secondly, I think when the coffee was dried in their ice, when it was dry enough, they stored it in bags or huge bags and did not store it properly in a dry place. So then maybe the moisture content increased again. The bags were maybe already infected with some fungus or bacteria. So I think it's mostly a storage problem.
Okay, alright. So we still have, actually this was natural, we still have a honeycomb parallel experiment, so we'll jump to the conclusions of that tasting experiment. We are now at the honeycomb. We already, of course, did the grinding, smelling dry, breaking crust. Already some interesting observations, Rob?
Yes, the medium roast profile is quite similar in defects as the natural one, which indicates that as they were stored at the same place and at the same moment, it could be a storage problem. but for the dark roast profile, the wet and dry aromas are much better. We get brown spices, peppery, dark chocolate. So this is really indicating a potential for the honey process. So now we'll have to taste if it's also improved in its flavor.
Yeah, so for me there was only the one that had this kind of salmon smell.
Yeah.
And the other ones, as you say, Rob, they're just very agreeable, not burned or something like that. So
a lack of burnt aromas. Yeah, the natural had the clear burnt profile, burnt sugar, burnt roast, but here it's missing, so that's good.
And so would that also be that in the natural processing you still have more fruit in some sense sticking at the end that creates a burnt flavors, or how? I mean, because I processed them, I roasted them same settings. Mm-hmm. There was a slight difference in weight, I think, but other than that, would that be a general expectation that you have between natural and honey, that if roasted similarly, you would first perceive burnt flavors in the natural processing, or?
No, this is more due to the amount of defects. So the defects in the natural were much higher than the defects in the honey process. So once you have green defects in your sample and you roast it, this will come through also in the taste. So it will most likely be due to more defects in the natural sample than in the honey sample.
All right. In comparison, maybe because they're still hotter, but as you were explaining, the kind of profile they go through as they cool down can be bigger with Robustas compared to
yeah, so Robusta does change quite a lot in time. So when it cools down, Robusta has a tendency to change, specifically in its aftertaste and its mouthfeel. So it makes it difficult to assess Robusta. So the first few minutes you taste it could be quite different from 5-6 minutes later when it's cooling down.
I must say, this second one here, for me, it has a nice combination of some fruitiness that I can still kind of perceive. The first one, definitely not for me. So this is my current favorite. This is only burnt. I do have more burnt compared to the smelling experience.
Flavors, burnt flavors.
Yeah. Okay, actually this is really my favorite, although I again did not properly wash my mouth.
The first one?
No. The second one.
Second one.
First one, the one that had the salmon for me.
It's quite nice, not too burnt.
And did you also have a little bit of fruitiness that you could still kind of detect in the background in the second one?
It's more towards burnt sugar and caramel.
Okay.
Fruitiness is difficult because the intense aromas are so dominant. You find the fruit profile.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised. But maybe I still had some lingering other taste. That's it.
But I really like the brown spices profile.
Okay.
So compared to natural, this has much more those spices in flavor.
And now that I try it again. Right, it's really in the background though for me.
Yeah.
So it's been a very interesting experiment for you also,
yes, indeed.
Being able to compare. So what would you recommend to the people in Congo buying the local coffee?
If you buy this local coffee, roast it really dark, else you will taste some very bad coffee cups.
So there is sense to the strategy of going for a darker roast to hide defects. Of course, there's a reason why so many of the roasteries do it like that, like Starbucks or all the kind of big chains. So thanks for this insightful session.
You're welcome.
And hope to see you next time.